The one trick to get anything in life is simple. You must have a plan, and you must execute that plan day in and day out as best you can, even if you aren't guaranteed that your actions will get you exactly what you want. About a year ago, I signed up for Floris Gierman's Personal Best program, and I dove straight into the deep end of the MAF method. There are 3 things in particular that I learned from Floris, but there is one crucial realization that changed my perspective on running and a lot of things in life overall. If you clicked on this video, you like running, you're interested in running, and if you haven't heard of Floris Gierman, he is an absolute gem. He's been running for well over 10 years, and he has really pioneered the MAF method online. He's probably one of the first ones that kind of put it on the social media scene on YouTube and created a whole business around it. If you're new to my channel, my name is Brandon. I'm a personal trainer, and if you're interested in moving better, feeling better, and looking better, those are the things that I'm thinking about all the time. These are the things that I'm making videos on. So stick around and you'll find some more videos around that content. For those that are returning to this channel, welcome back. Today we are talking about the MAF method, those 3 lessons, and that one realization from Floris. So let's jump in. I mentioned it in the intro, you need to have a plan and you need to be able to execute that plan. But lesson number 1 for Floris, it helps so much to have a fun, positive attitude. You get into this guy's program and you can just feel the passion and almost childlike joy this guy gets from running. It is honestly fun to watch, just how excited he gets about running.
Set my speed as 9 miles an hour and to slow down. Stoked.
Watching the content in his program must have subconsciously pulled me into the sheer gravity of his positivity. I felt excited that my slow zone 2 running, as boring as it was exactly what I needed and that I was going to freaking love running. If you don't know what the MAF method is, simply take 180 minus your age, and when you're out running, to stay in that zone 2, do not get your heart rate above that number. For me, I'm 24, so I try to keep my heart rate below 156 on my runs. But ultimately, when it comes to sport, when it comes to anything physical, it helps so much to have a positive attitude. And there's something about sports psychology that we are at our best when we are enjoying what we're doing. Even if it is boring, finding a way to have fun while doing it means that you're going to get the most out of it. Lesson number 2 from Mr. Gierman. Take running serious. Even if the MAF method is about running a very slow, like almost watching paint dry pace, this doesn't mean you are doing anything less important than what professional athletes do. Beginner runners are not used to the boredom, mundanity, slowness, whatnot of a zone 2 run. But finding comfort, finding an enjoyment in that slow, boring running is a skill you can develop. Now with my running, that sort of solitude, that sort of peace you get while running at a very kind of boring pace is something I crave. To put it into perspective, running doesn't clear my mind, but it creates space for reflection. It creates time to get in touch and have clarity about what already is in my mind. Once I know what's up here, it's easier to make a decision, and it's easier to have a better life. So, like meditation, finding a Zen focus in the repetitive, slow running is where you find incredible value in the MAF method. Well, in running the MAF way, you lose your train of thought, you start running faster out of control, and you return your focus to your heart rate. So you have to take a walk, control your breathing again, bring your heart rate back down, staying under that maximum aerobic function heart rate. I've got to say this again. Just because you're running slow does not mean you are doing anything less important than what professional athletes do as well. Lesson number 3 from Floris and his program. When you start, don't worry about the miles you run. Worry about the time you spend on your feet. In his training programs, he uses a time goal rather than a mile goal for each run. This really helped me get over that mental block of running, kind of that initial fear of like, oh my God, I have 5 miles to go run today. Well, when you phrase it as, oh, I could go spend 40, 50 minutes getting some exercise in, I can do that no problem. I don't know why, for me, it was a very subtle shift, but it makes it so much easier to just get out the door and go run. When you're beginning, you need to go spend time in that zone 2. And so it's not so much about the miles and the amount of miles they're actually running, but it's just the time you spend on that slow pace zone 2 running. I'm going to sound repetitive, but it is helpful and also practical to worry more about the time rather than the mileage. Now, my biggest takeaway from Floris, from his program, what I learned from a beginner runner to where I'm at now, about a year and plus a couple months later. When you are a beginner runner, you have no idea the higher amount of work and consistent work week after week that more advanced runners are putting in. I remember thinking I was doing so much running when I ran 2 miles a day or 10 miles total that week. I thought I was freaking on top of the world. And I was. It's important to celebrate that when you're beginning. But if you want to become a faster runner and to move beyond your beginner phase, you have to learn that there is a lot more work you need to do throughout each week. I'm not just talking about time spent on feet, but being able to do some strength training to prevent injuries, focusing on your nutrition, realizing your sleep is technically a part of training as well. There's a lot more that goes into becoming a great runner than just simply putting some shoes on, getting out the door. Thankfully, without knowing it, the MAF method helps build you up to a higher mileage in a way that is tolerable. It prevents injuries because of the lower intensity of running itself, and ultimately it gives you clear variables to measure without being overwhelming. Floris, if you end up watching this video, my man, you have helped me in such a positive way, and I cannot thank you enough. To go from thinking, 2 miles is so much to now being able to run 5-7 miles an hour, hour and a half every day and think no problem. I feel great after that. I could go for longer. It's a great feeling of self-mastery that I hope everyone gets to experience someday. So if you don't know who Floris is and you haven't checked out his program, I really recommend his stuff. I think his program, he could tailor it up a little bit, maybe make some things a little bit shorter, maybe rephrase a few things, but I think there is 100% value in what he has to say. Beyond the MAF method, Floris's program, my training, you never truly know if what you're doing is going to get you to exactly what you want or exactly where you want to go. So the question becomes, how do you commit to something if you aren't guaranteed an outcome? That is the spirit of sport. The whole point of training, becoming an athlete, doing these sorts of things with the hope of achieving something great is an act of optimism. We can understand science, we can understand training and programming, but we have to believe that our actions and our efforts will create change. I want you to know, if you are a beginner, to pursue a sense of self-mastery, to realize your physical potential. It's more than just a logical, follow-up program. It is an emotional journey. It's emotional decisions you have to take with logical data. When you can, again, combine your plan with the execution and the action and have a fun attitude and to believe in the actions you are taking, you are going to achieve more than you think you're capable of. With running, the MAF method gave me a plan forward, but it helped me believe that my current struggles, being slow, out of breath, no progress, these are all necessary parts of my plan to becoming the runner I want to be. That's all for this video. The last thing I'll say is, if you want to live a great life, I think pursuing your health, pursuing your physical potential is absolutely the foundation to that. Stick around for more. You'll see me in the next video.